I came down in 2007, like so many people, just to be a part of what was going on in New Orleans. You know, I feel like that was one of the questions that my generation was going to have to answer. You know, what were you doing at this time? I know for me, that was a question I used to ask my parents growing up. What were you doing during civil rights? And I felt like this, post-Katrina, this was our question to answer. I came down and went to an area, the Ninth Ward, which was devastated by Hurricane Katrina. I had no idea what I was doing. I'll be the first to admit I was a terrible teacher. And I was approached by the athletic director while teaching 6 out of 7 classes, and he said, would you like to coach women's basketball? So I said, why not? It's an opportunity for me to engage my students, to bring something that I can learn outside of the classroom into the classroom. A week later, our athletic director quit. And our principal asked me, would you be interested in taking over this program? I said, sure, and in famous last words, I said, how hard can it be? I looked around, there was pretty much 8 trailers, there was no money, there was no uniforms, and there was no interest. Just doing the simplest thing to start was difficult. We had to make sure our kids were healthy enough for athletic competition. There was no doctors coming down, there was nothing. For those of you who've been to New Orleans know that there's not much business going on in the Ninth Ward. Unless you're doing something there, you just don't go down there. People said, no thanks. So finally I said, you know what? I'm going to go to a hospital. I'm going to give it a shot. I walked into a hospital. I said, I need to see a doctor. They said, what's wrong with you? I said, nothing. I need someone to come and see my kids. Oddly enough, I think someone felt really, really bad for me or just saw the entrepreneurship or desperation in my face and got together a team of interns, and they screened 75 kids in a weekend. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And in an environment where 8% of people go on to get degrees, where 1 out of every 2 people do not go on to graduate high school, where our track team runs in the street, our football team, if they kick a field goal on one side, it goes into a house that was knocked off its foundation. If they kick a field goal on the other side, it goes into an abandoned gym. They go to school in trailers 4 years after the storm. And I said, what is wrong? And the scariest part about it was they said, nothing. There's nothing wrong. And that was my moment because it clicked in my head that your environment, no matter how good or no matter how bad, eventually becomes normal to you, no matter what it is. And the scary thing about that was that they thought that there was nothing wrong with that environment. And it was that moment was like, all right, I'm going to do something about this. And being young and stupid, we tried and said, this is what we're doing. I want you to be a part of creating the new normal in this community, the first public track in the city of New Orleans. And then you have that moment, right? Everyone who pitches people in this room knows that moment. You lay it all out on the table, and then silence. And you just hope to God that you said the right thing. You can't take any more words back. That's all you have is that moment. And literally, we got laughed out of office after office after office. Had to pick ourselves up off the floor every day after people told us no, no, no. And then we came up with a different idea. Said, to hell with the businesses, they don't want to support us. Because you know who does want to support us, I bet? The people. And we started reaching out to groups who could help us, like your social media groups. I went to a local technology group, and they said, you need to be on Twitter. And I leaned over to the person next to me and said, I have no idea what Twitter is. And they said, you need to get on it. So we had people, basically, again, being an entrepreneur to me does not mean all these things that people get tossed around. It means being desperate and knowing that, being smart enough to know that I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm doing, and I need to surround myself with people who do know what they are doing. This is what this city needs. This city, right now, needs more people coming together. To hell with all the people who said that this could not be done, that it was too ambitious, that it was too idealistic, and you're too young. I like it. Get in my car and let's go. They said, are you serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. I said, all right, we'll let you know. We found out in March of this past year that we did, in fact, that they were going to award us the grant. There are still days that I wake up and I think that I can't do this. And there are days that are easier than others, just like many of you face. The other day I went to school and I said, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And one of my students put their hand on my shoulder and said, baby, ain't nobody told you to do this to begin with.